statistically, financials, Matt, I mean, we pretty much know business is declining. I mean, they can make and put a mask on this stuff all they want. I know Triple H, bless him. I do admire Triple H because he does take, and we're going to start doing them, by the way, on this podcast. I'm going to get into that later. But Triple H, I don't know if you know this, Matt, he takes calls every couple of months, mainly around NXT because that's what he's in control of. And he sits there and he lets all these independent, like we are, call in, give a question, follow-up question, and 9 times out of 10 he always answers it. But his big thing, Matt, is he always says, well, people just watch Raw on their smartphones. They turn off and they just watch it on the smartphones for the last hour. That's why. But even he, Matt, I mean, that's just a corporate hat that he's wearing there. I'm pretty sure realises there's an issue, and I think we've known that for a long time. What do you, before we get on to McMahon's comments, Matt, what do you make of, are you shocked anywhere about the statistics and the financial outcome of this one, or is this something that you saw coming?
No, it's pretty standard, isn't it? I mean, there's not much change from the last year over. Things are steadily sort of going down, but at the same time, he's making the right deals and investments to keep the thing profitable, isn't it? Like the Saudi deal, as much as people have an issue with it, it is something that's a bit of a lifeline to them right now. That they're using a lot of those funds to sort of bring older talent back, and I suppose bringing the older talent back, as much as we don't like it, there are people that do like it. I mean, Goldberg was incredibly popular until recently, and then he had a disappointing match, and that sort of support for him's gone. But that won't stop them. The Undertaker will continue to be sort of a legend that keeps getting brought out to sort of improve viewership from time to time, but other things that are in there, like AEW and how that's not real competition at the moment, I kind of got to disagree with that. I mean, it's a way off, but you can still see, that when you've got events like Stomping Grounds coming out and they're drawing sort of figures that they're getting for that compared to AEW's already beaten them on terms with things like that, because AEW had an incredibly successful sort of launch. So, it's beating what is already a proven and existing product when you put out pay-per-views like Stomping Grounds.
Yeah, I think that's McMahon trying to be a little bit, cagey there. I think he definitely knows there is something coming. I mean, for him to, I was fascinated, Matt, the fact that he referred to the Attitude Era as, sort of crappy old garbage type wrestling. I mean, that's, why is he mentioning that? Yet he's invited all these legends back, most of them from that era. I mean, you couldn't get, any more inconsistent than that statement, could you really? Because if it was that bad and unpopular, then how come we're inviting most of them back now? Not even you didn't even have to be a main eventer back then to be quite popular still now, because all those guys that were around that time, even Godfather, is over the most of the current guys are today. Val Venus would be. So, he can go back to that. I think he's been slightly. I think he realises that he's got to stay with this PG stuff, and he's trying to say, well, we're above all that now. We're not going to do anything like that. Hang on a minute. It was only the other night, Matt, that me and you was watching McMahon himself. This was in 2003. I mean, he certainly wasn't having a problem of it when he was there. So to me, it was much more entertaining. Now, I'm not going to... There are things that have improved, i.e. the women. I do think that is a massive improvement. But you can't tell me that the stuff that's going on now is more entertaining than it was back then, because it's clearly not. You've only got to go back and watch some of that stuff. And in fact, myself and Matt, we actually stuck on the first ever episode of Heat. And even that was more popular than... And fans seem more excited, enthusiastic. They seem like they knew each character that came out, including the Job Squad. So, yeah, he might say that. And, of course, he did mention, as you said, Matt, about AEW not being competition. He thinks as well that TNT will not allow them to have that kind of stuff on their TV. Matt, if they knew that, how come they've signed them? I mean, surely they would have spoke about this way ahead of time before this deal even happened. They're going, they're going on a main channel here. They're not starting out on small stuff. They literally got TNT. Tony Khan, when he sat and negotiated this, I mean, surely, Matt, they knew that this was happening. I just wouldn't imagine that they didn't have an inkling. And I think the fact they want to go that adult route, I'm pretty sure TNT would be all for it. I mean, I'm not saying, blood and guts every night, but I'm saying more sort of mature storylines and more stuff that's going to have that. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to be presented, Matt. I'll be very surprised if it isn't.
Yeah.
And,
I'd agree with that. I mean, 100%. And, one of the key sort of questions they must have asked when they were sitting down trying to get this deal is what's going to set you apart from the WWE?
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess that was the answer. More adult content, more investment in actual in-ring performance rather than storylines, although they will be equally good. I mean, I'm sure these were all key points they hit. The only problem will be, you can have violence on your network, and that's fine if you've got the right age rating for it and you put it and sold it as that. But the thing is, it'll be AEW's problem. It won't really be the network's problem because if they're going to pay for medical bills and stuff, they're going to have to be quite sensible about what risks to take.
Yeah, I mean, listen, WWE have gone away that, they're into charity, they're into kids, all this sort of stuff. But I think what WWE are quite concerned about is the fact that if you look at the AEW audience, they're all young demographic men, quite a lot of them. And that's something that WWE seems to have lost out on because they've either got really enthusiastic kids that are always going to be there. You're always going to have kids at wrestling shows, especially at WWE ones, because look at the larger-than-life characters that you get. That's never going to be a problem. But if you think about it, Matt, the only fans that are holding on are probably the ones like you and me, that are from a time that we've just stuck with it because we're loyal. But I don't think they're making any fresh, young, male people switch on and go, oh, I fancy watching this. And I think that's where AEW are going to win. I think they're going to win on that demographic. I think they're going to get that audience. And not only have they got that audience, they're also going to probably get people that are just curious that watch WWE now tuning in as well. So I'm saying at the moment, and I'm not trying to big this up more than it is, but I'm saying if you think about it, AEW at the beginning of the year did not have a TV deal. People were laughing at this stuff. People didn't take it too serious. Now they're starting to take it quite serious because they haven't really even had to sign all these huge names that everyone thought they had to, because they're just basically they've just got John Moxley. That's pretty much it, Matt, isn't it? So it's the product they're producing, I think, that's going to outdo WWE at the end of it. On this one, anything to add to that, Matt, before we move on?
Well, yeah, I'm going to agree, and I'm not going to let this topic go. The fact that WWE cancels their shows.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm going to put that out there as well. Until like Ring of Honor or AEW or something cancel a show that I've been to, I'm going to hold WWE responsible for that. Yeah. Well, we spoke about that last time, and of course, it is happening all over the place, and that's a good point, Matt. Because you said at the beginning of this that yes, WWE are doing very well financially. They're making these great deals with Saudi Arabia, but man, how much is this costing their loyal fan base by doing these kind of things? Because it's because of this Saudi trip that is now imploding in the UK is a problem because they can't get them over and stuff. So this is a huge issue, and I do feel like as a fan kind of let down by WWE. So and we know they keep putting them off and changing around, and now we're hearing about this Saudi Arabia thing as well. It's going to be on a Friday. You're going to have Friday night SmackDown. What are they going to do? Well, they'll probably give you an all-women's SmackDown, won't they? To counteract what's going on. Will they be paid the same? Probably not. I would like to put that out there. I don't know if all these women are getting any kind of counter payment for not being allowed to attend and make the money the guys are making, but I was reading somewhere, Matt, that believe it or not, Ronda Rousey
had a clause in her contract, smart as she was, that when WWE went there, she got a percent of it, because she said, if my name's going on WWE, then I'm helping them to sell when they go out there. And quite frankly, Matt, if now I'm not saying she is, because she isn't at the moment, but if Becky Lynch should have taken off how she should have done, Matt, and she was like Steve Austin now, the most popular person in there, the man, and then they go to Saudi Arabia without her, I think I would have been saying the same thing as Ronda was saying. You give me some of that back, even though, because I could be making that kind of money, and everyone else is making it, but I'm not. So I think they've got a point. But we'll get to that, I'm sure, later down the line. I'm sure that controversy is going to come up, Matt, with the Saudi Arabia show again.
Oh yeah.
And, we'll see what happens this time with all of that. Okay, so guys. Moving on now for the podcast, just want to let everybody know what's going on. We've, of course, had a busy day so far today with a relaunch, the start of the relaunch. We're not quite there yet, but it's a work in progress. Everybody got some, I would say mainly, Matt, it's all been positive with the logo. So the logo's gone down really well, so I'm quite happy about that. We thought we would incorporate a little bit of the Wrestling Skull podcast in it as well, just to shine a bit of light where we kind of came from. So yeah, it looks. I'm happy that everybody likes the look of it and stuff like that. Of course, now we are, as I mentioned earlier, we are on other platforms now. So don't forget, guys, with the evolution of our show. We've changed the Facebook name now just to WrestleLine, and it's purely because, of course, we're going to be doing both video content and audio content as well. So some shows will kind of cross over to one another. Things like one of Matt's favourites that we're going to talk about in a second, Magnificent Seven, that will have a crossover appeal. So you're going to be able to watch it. And you can also, if you haven't got time to sit in front of YouTube, you want to do your normal stuff that, I hear so many times people say, this is so good to listen to in the mornings when I'm going to work, or these pieces of time where I'm travelling about, got nothing else to do. Well, you're still going to be able to do that. You're still going to be able to hear it on the podcast. So some shows will cross over. That's not a problem. We always wanted to remain that the shows that started here on the podcast will always remain on the podcast, but they will now be able to, have a visual appearance as well. And Matt, of course, we are going to be shooting those very soon. We are bringing it back, the Mag 7s. And I want to thank everybody for their great suggestions. And DX1, yours has come up trumps on this one, Matt, hasn't it? And I don't know if you've started your list as yet, but we are working on the lists of be like Jericho at the minute. But yeah, we're going back into that. I won't give too much away what the theme's on, but DX1 come up with a suggestion, so give him a bit of credit for this one. So they're going to be coming back, but like I say, there's going to be a nice crossover in that one. We've also got for the podcast a trilogy series now, trilogy matches. So these are things, of course, like the infamous Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat trilogy from '89. We've also got ones from ECW, WWE, I mean, all over the place. Any trilogy matches that were around that kind of make sense when they happened are now going to be done. So it's kind of a watch along. So you'll literally fire up the podcast, fire up the WWE network, and you're going to be able to watch it along with us. Yeah, they're going to be, we've already started doing that, so they're going to be coming out soon as well. Other things that we got coming out doesn't stop just there, folks. We got loads of stuff. So now with YouTube, we're going to start doing vlogging, Matt. Very new to us here, but we're going to start a vlogging series. So we're going to be vlogs a lot more now, and when we're out and about, we'll be doing only sort of short videos, but definitely going to have more content to be on there. So it's not just like you might be holding out for the podcast. You're always going to have access to us on YouTube, which hopefully will work out quite well. So that might just be on any kind of variety of topics. We're going to have, of course, documentaries now. Now I know it sounds a bit high profile for us on here, but we are going to be doing some documentaries, and they might be broken down into like parts or one episode as it may. We haven't really decided that yet, but I think you'll be quite interested in some of the stuff we cover. And also, this is another big thing we're going to be doing is, say, on the big pay-per-view nights like SummerSlam even nights, of course, like Survivor Series or WrestleMania, stuff like that. I'm literally